مساء الخير. رح نجرب نكون سريعين شوية.
We will try to be as fast as possible. I call Mrs. Zena Qasim, who is a mother who refused to be a simple and pacifist viewer of the road fatalities. We call Mrs. Zena Qasim to take her Mrs. Dana Bustani. And finally, Maha Sha'ir, a journalist who has an international or the citizenship of humanity, coming from Jordan and supporting several associations, not only in Jordan, including my Shadiak Foundation. And last but not least, Nadia Mekdashi graduated from the universities of the United States, but she decided to come back to Lebanon and help drug addicts through Schoon, these drug addicts who were considered criminals. May, I just want to know how much time we have. We are 40 minutes late. So can you tell me how much time we have? We cannot hear Dr. Shidiak intervention. So we will try to stop at 5 to 4. Since March 1947, 70 years back, a group of women wanted to celebrate the Women International Day. At that time, the Lebanese government prohibited such a celebration, but they have decided to move this celebration to the street until the United Nations proclaimed this day as the official International Women's Day. 51% of associations and NGOs are run by women. 24% of associations preserve equity between men and women, and around 23% only of the associations are managed by men. This is true facts. I am head of Saker ad-Dikkani, it's true, but 99% of the employees are women, and this is why Saker ad-Dikkani is successful. So today we will be speaking about pioneers in the civil society, and I want to hear their opinion regarding, for example, Roads for Life. If we were to start with Mrs. Zena Qasim, why did you establish Roads for Life? The majority of associations are established after a tragedy or a certain feeling of pain. Without this tragedy, I wouldn't have established Roads for Life. When social action emerges from a pain and from a true need to raise awareness regarding the culture of rescue that was absent in Lebanon. And in order for us to be capable of giving a true opportunity to save victims if they still have the hope to live. So why not Roads for Life is in fact roads leading to avoid death. And in this context, Talal death would be useful in some way. As Mai said, everything happens for a reason. So you lost your 17-year-old son, but without this tragic loss, you wouldn't have participated to the social activism. I said that Roads for Life was a type of reaction to this tragedy and to the injustice in Lebanon. It was a reaction to despair because we wanted to fight for life. Unfortunately, in Lebanon, after Talal tragic death, I was truly aware of the fact that the Lebanese citizenship is not respected and dies without being able to obtain his right for life. I was a mother of 4, but now I am a mother of so many young people. I have tried as much as possible to diminish the pain of people who faced similar difficulties and tragedies. These people have gained additional opportunities through Roads for Life, and we are trying as much as possible to work with public health associations and institutions to fight despair and to give a meaning to Talal's death. And through this experience, I will be able to teach myself and my family members that in spite of all difficulties, we can still find reasons to walk and move forward. Maha? Zena came to the civil society arena after a tragedy. What about you, since you are committed on several national levels? I'm not a businesswoman and I'm not a political as well. I have decided to be a social activist because I'm a mother, first of all. I'm a mother of 4 boys, and the pain of any woman is a pain I feel myself. When I started working with these associations, I had a specific interest in each one of them. My participation was aiming at developing and being able to assist the society in changing laws and rules and systems that could take our societies to more advanced positions. I support Zena Qasim. I support autistic associations. When I used to talk 10 years ago about ADHD in order to explain this disease, now the society is more aware about these diseases and these persons. I am not a physician, but I'm trying to help as much as possible these people. So I think that the major incentive for me was being a mother. Dr. Bostani, we all know that you started working in a very masculine environment and after a very difficult situation, after living in the United States. How did you establish open minds and how were you able to form this association?
I want to thank Dr. Shidia for making this possible. And I think that Dr. Shidia will truly will know she has succeeded when she has to change the name of her conference. And it's no longer Women at the Frontiers, but People at the Frontiers. Frontlines, sorry, frontlines. What I want to say is, yes, there is an inequity in the world that concerns women. But I was very lucky at a very young age to be armed by my parents of knowing and believing that there's nothing I couldn't do. And it's not true. I didn't face difficulties. I always did, but it never stopped me. The more somebody said, you can't do something or you won't be able to, that started the fire in my belly, and I was sure to succeed. And that's what every woman, man, and child should keep in their minds.
إذا ما في فرق بين الرجال والمرأة؟
There are differences. There are biologic differences between men and women. Vive la différence. But that does not mean that women are less capable or less talented, or that they are restricted in their interests. It has never stopped me being a woman. Maybe some people tried to stop me, but it never stopped me. And why did I start, or where did the idea to come up with a foundation come? It's because when I arrived in Lebanon 9 years ago, I was shocked at the lack of services for kids with neurological problems, special needs, be they premature, autistic. And I tried to reach out to do something. And then, as usual, I would decide, since I can't find what I need, I better start it myself. And I was very lucky to meet a number of men and women who believed in this cause. Mrs. Ghida Rabat, who's our president, Soha Bayhom, who's our vice president, Mrs. Mahashair, who's a member, and various gentlemen who have been just as passionate about our cause. And our three main goals are raising awareness for special needs in Lebanon, helping families in need, promoting research, and reaching out to other NGOs and governments to make things happen for this population that is very underserved in Lebanon. And whenever there is a need, people do rise to the occasion and try to fill this need. And that's what I see myself doing. It's a natural thing.
نادية، ليه سكون؟ وخاصة انه عم تتعاطي بموضوع يمكن النساء انه تتعاطى فيه، موضوع كتير حساس، على راس الناس، يمكن افكار كثيره اليوم مطبوعه بمجتمعنا. شو تغير معك من وقتها وليش سكون من الاصل؟
أنا رح أحكي كمان بالإنجليزي. I think Skoon was founded first of all by myself and my amazing partner, who is another amazing woman, Sara Trad. So that, I think, speaks to the power that we have as women when we band together and we decide to make a difference and create something. Why Skoon and why drugs? Because as two young women at the time, 12 years ago, we looked around and we saw that this was an issue. It was an issue and it wasn't being addressed because maybe of the stigma that surrounds addiction and drugs and people who use drugs and people who develop addictions. So we felt that it was maybe our duty and our job to do something about it and bring forward modern and effective ways based in medicine to deal with it.
هل كان في صعوبة كونكم نساء انكم بلشتوا؟
Did you face any problem as women who started this organization? Did you face any challenges in ensuring the success on this subject that is a taboo in Lebanon?
When we were searching, they would see Sarah and I, and we're like, these nice girls looking for an apartment. هنفتح جمعية. So everyone was very welcoming, but when they understood in particular what the Jam'iyya was going to be doing, all of a sudden the apartments were no longer available. Because they couldn't, I think, put our, we looked something different and they would ask us, but why are you doing this? Why don't you do something else? Like we shouldn't be, maybe, it wasn't a woman's thing to be involved in something like this.
طيب زينة، كان في مشكلة انه اليوم انت كونك مرأة.
As a woman, did you face any problem in being a leader in civil society? Why didn't your husband be president of this organization?
عندها قدرة تحمل الوجع بعتقد أكثر من الرجال. مشان هيك الله خليها عطاها كل الصبر على أوجاع الولادة، وبعدين النفس الطويل للتربية، وبعدين عطاها كمان القوة لتناضل بالمجتمع المدني على شيء بصير تغييري بعدين، يعني مثل ثقافة الإنقاذ اللي عم نجرب نطورها وننشرها، وكمان على حوادث السير، وكيف كتير نضلنا لحتى نرجع نطلع هالقانون السير اللي كان بجوارير المجلس النيابي
بعده بجوري
ب9
صوت عليه
سنين.
بس
نضلنا على كتير لحتى ينقر ويطلع، ورجع التغى ورجعنا تحركنا ليرجع يطلع، وان شاء الله رح نشوف تطبيق هالقانون ان شاء الله الشهر الجاي بدعم دولي، ونشوف شوية موت أقل على طرقاتنا بلبنان.
عظيم جدا مها. طيب اذا شفنا انه تقريبا القضايا اليوم اللي عم نتشارك فيها على هيدا البانل هي قضايا اجتماعيه لها علاقه بالعائله.
The subjects that we are discussing today are of a social nature. Does women only work when it comes to a subject of a social perspective? Why do women or are women available to discuss other subjects? Do they face difficulties in working in other fields? What do you think? It is difficult for me in my country to participate in political matters. We have to wait for a government, for a president, for a parliament, and when we have sufficient women rights laws and human rights laws, we will be able to work properly. When we work in civil society organizations, we can make breakthroughs without waiting for politicians to agree. We can help and support civil society organizations because of the lack of any proper structure in this government, in this country. I think charities or civil society organizations are very important in our society because people are relying on them. They are generating revenues. We are able we have Tamanna, we have other organizations that support these children. These organizations can help society and the people in given the lack and the absence of the government. We will go back to civil society's relation with the authorities. But I'd like to ask, do we have a specific leadership role that is different between men and women?
Attitude to leadership, and we heard that this morning, that they rule by consensus, they're less confrontational, they're more empathic, but they are just as effective, sometimes even more effective, or equally effective at the very least.
شو السبب؟
I hope nobody will be upset, but I am a neuroscientist first and foremost. Our brains are built differently. There are parts of the brain in men that are bigger, and there are parts in women that are bigger. And we have different strengths. For example, the area for aggression is bigger in men. The area for empathy and the level of the love hormone or oxytocin is higher in women. We are different. Intellectually, IQ-wise, we are the same, but we have a different way of bringing about change.
شو ممكن تأثر هيدا على الليدرشيب بالمجتمع؟
How can this affect leadership in civil society?
Important thing, as was noted today and as statistics show, is that most of the individuals in position of effecting change or leadership are men. So our first objective is to educate these men to change their attitude, because unfortunately our fates are still in their hands, and for mothers to educate their sons, and for fathers to educate their sons and daughters.
نادية شفنا انه هل يا ترى المرأة لازم تكون
Nadia, should women be in a certain social position in order to succeed in civil society, or is civil society open to all women from different social classes, backgrounds, cultural backgrounds as well? Is it more difficult or is it easier for women to come from an educated background or from a wealthy family to be able to work in civil society or not?
As civil society or the non-governmental sector grows and is moving away from the traditional charitable work, I think most modern NGOs now in Lebanon that are career opportunities for a lot of women, because you work there, you have a salary. It's no longer just I'm from a certain social class, therefore I can give back. It's providing a lot of, I think, career opportunity for a lot of women to actively participate in civil society, especially when a lot of political doors are closed. So for women who do care and want to give back and have an impact, civil society is an avenue for that.
طيب شو علاقة المجتمع المدني؟ كثير سمعت نتذكر
What is the relationship of civil society organizations? You've all said that politicians do not support, the government is absent. What is the role of women leaders in civil society in this field? How do you work with politicians? And I'd like to continue with you, Nadia. How did your dealing with politicians change over the past 12 years? And what is your role in changing this political landscape?
At Schoon, in the beginning, we didn't have much contact, nor did we believe that it was actually going to be beneficial for us. But then we learned that actually you can effectively engage, even though we're in very difficult political state in Lebanon, due to a variety of reasons, but you can effectively engage the government if you don't expect too much too quickly. So I think that without, it's in Lebanon, the government depends heavily actually on the non-governmental sector, because they know very well the essential role we are playing. But at the same time, when these NGOs want to affect larger change, you need your government to be involved in that. So when we're talking about changing laws or national policies or investing funds into some issues that are important, you need your government.
كيف عم يتعاطوا
For that.
معكم
Rosemary, you meet with politicians. Do you think they are dealing with you in a more responsible way?
The government, because we can effect change, but for the change to become universal and ensconced in laws, you need the government. And frankly, Open Minds, the members of Open Minds have engaged the Ministry of Social Welfare, of Education, of Health, and we have been extremely pleased with their reception to our ideas and their willingness to want to help. So I think it's key. Maybe NGOs have the time to think of the issues that don't seem high up on the priority list of the ministers, but it's our duty to bring them up there and to get their attention.
مها انت قلتي انه
Maha, you said that civil society organizations are filling the role that the government is not playing. Isn't it the responsibility of civil society organizations to move from civil activism to political work? And what is the difference between the women's role in civil society and aspire to have a political role, or men in civil society organizations aspiring to play political roles? I do not I don't deny that civil society work gives you a political push, but as May Khalil said, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. In order to change laws in a country and to draft new laws, we need a lot of time. We still need time, especially that civil wars do not end in this country. When you asked Nadia this question, I would like to tell you that, of course, we have a cause, we have a certain objective that would be at the service of society as a whole, and therefore we need the government's support. But what I'd like to say in this context is that media is most important when you have a case. Media should adopt your cause and should disseminate it. Then you will gain the state's or the government's attention, and then only will you be able to know that something important is going on, there is a certain problem or there deficit, when we started giving classes to emergent to ER doctors, we wondered why should we pay doctors to attend them? They should know what they do. But when the doctor says, I know everything, he doesn't know anything. And when the Minister of Health, Mr. Abu Fa'ur, supported these classes in June and sent a circular to all public and private hospitals regarding the need to attend ATLS and ATCN courses for doctors and nurses, because this will impact the classification of ER, of their ERs. He had given us an important push. So you are able to exert a pressure on the political class. Media is helping us, and I'd like to thank LBC. Do you find a problem with the media supporting your causes? Do they give you a priority, and has the media's way to deal with you changed, Zaina? If you were Minister of Interior, what would you do? Why not the Minister of Health? Why immediately Minister of Interior? Because Ministry of Interior is responsible for the application of the traffic law. I I would hold accountable every citizen that would breach the law. The new traffic law should be a priority, because we have a second world war, second civil war on the streets in Lebanon that affects all parts of society and that rapes victims without or with impunity, without any judgment. This shouldn't continue. Maha, don't you feel frustrated at some point?
ما في حد
No, because we are all vulnerable and we are at risk of death and sickness. Politicians aren't immune to death and to sickness. We're all one in society and we are all at risk of the same thing. So the civil society, Zaina, for example, calls for traffic laws implementation, or for cancer, for example, St. Jude seek assistance for children. All children are at risk. Rich, poor are all at risk of the same diseases. Dr. Mary, what is the advice that you can give through your experience?
And don't give up.
وهالقد هينه.
Is it that easy? Nadia, if it's that easy to defend our causes, you've been defending drug addicts' causes for 18 years. We are now calling to legitimizing drugs. Don't you think that you have lost? Of course not. I think that if they are trying to legalize some drugs, they will realize that all their policies have failed, and today they arrest more than 4,000 individuals because of drugs. What are we going to do? We need to send them to rehab, not to prisons and jails. And I think that we are promoting and developing our way of thinking in order to deal with this problem from a different perspective. Therefore, I think that we have succeeded, and I think that we were capable of leaving or of having an impact in order to change our politics towards this problem. Zaina, do you think there is still hope? Don't you hate what Lebanon did to you and what the policies in Lebanon, politics in Lebanon did? Don't you think of emigrating? No, I'll tell you. You love someone not because they are beautiful. You love them for what they are and for who they are, not only because they're beautiful. If we are going to continue Ferouz's song, بحبك يا لبنان, I can add another sentence to it. I love you, meaning in English, I love you, Lebanon, with all your problems and worries, and I love you for your people. Mahan, do you find hope in Lebanon in the Arab world, given your activities in the Arab world, in Jordan, in Egypt? Do you believe there is still hope to reach anywhere with the civil society? What is our guarantee? Yes, of course. There are no guarantees. We are civilized people. We are educated. We cannot go backwards. Of course, we will move forward. Rosemary?
Lemonade. Always be positive.
نادية.
إنه مش معقول نوقف.
We can't stop. It's impossible for us to stop. We keep moving forward.
Sprint, it's a marathon.
حلو كتير.
نحن عدنا.
أنا بعد باخذ سؤال أو سؤالين، يمكن معنا وقت لسؤال أو سؤالين وبختم.
We'll take a couple of more questions before we conclude. I'd like to see a new raise of hands. Good evening. Zaina Mansour, journalist and university professor. I'd like to welcome our four ladies, but we need to have a critical overview of the women presence in civil society. I think it's very successful and it's positive. However, this presence faces obstacles such as in Lebanon, in Lebanese villages, in Egypt, in Jordan. There are organizations presided by women. However, they are not even members of the municipal council because the society does not tolerate women's participation. In this conference, Mrs. May is holding in this conference, and I hope that she will be a candidate in the upcoming elections. However, we are living in a society that did not allow women to participate in the parliamentary elections. So we do not. What is your question? So these civil society organizations were capable of raising awareness. However, we do not have true progress and legal change. We do not have social changes. I hope that you will understand my point of view, and thank you for your understanding. This is not a question. Can we answer what she said? I'm going to answer.
What you talked about, you should start an NGO and work on it.
Paul Saab, Dr.
Paul Saab, PhD in law. I'll give you a brief answer. First of all, women are not united. Civil society organizations are not united. That's why they don't reach any palpable results. They don't lack, or they lack sufficient studies. They are not taken seriously. These are the problems. So we have a question. So unite in under one umbrella and ensure follow-up. We'll take the last question. We haven't heard any questions yet. Lisa Beiruti. I'd like to raise, or I wanted to raise a question similar to the answer of the gentleman. So if we all unite under one theme for example, traffic victims or drugs, we can do much more. Concerning traffic law, Nahar published a report around a month and a half ago that and consecrated a whole page to these traffic accidents and the cost. Why in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and European countries the traffic law is implemented and there are not one violator of this traffic law that goes unpunished. And over a year ago, I heard from the former Minister of Interior that there are only 99 motorcycles for the traffic police. So maybe we can provide the incentives to increase the number of motorcycles on every crossroads. That will be followed by the policemen. We cannot take all your questions. Please question. Concerning organizations, you have 3 seconds. Concerning organizations, we always hear that there are new civil society organizations that want to get assistance from the government. I'm not against that, but societies and civil society organizations should be up to a certain level. We need to be realistic. There are important organizations that are capable of attracting sufficient funds and achieving their objectives. The responsibility is that of the state that does not follow up on the work of true organizations and that provides assistance to fake organizations without any follow-up or oversight. I'd like to answer you. We're not taking money from the government. The government is taking money from us. I don't have statistics. St. Jude by itself is spending or is providing treatment for more than 100 cancer children with cancer. We are paying the cost of this treatment. In another organization called Teach a Child, we are providing support for families who are incapable of providing education for their children and sending their children to school. We are providing funds from wealthy individuals. We are not taking money from the budget of the government. Thank you. We will conclude, please. I commend the work of St. Jude, but the main problem lies in this government. Please use microphone. Microphone. We are incapable of translating. Please use the microphone. Microphone, please. Allow me to conclude. مايكروفون بليز. أنا جاء استخدام مكبر الصوت.
مسيو نحن كمان ما سمعنا لك بس كتر خير الله موجودين. فينا ناخذ الكلام. اعمل معروف. اعمل معروف. اعمل معروف.
بنكمل النقاش بعدين. تكرم معي.
لا في تمييز يعني عم.
Of course, there is discrimination. I think that or we need to establish a distinction between different organizations and foundations. There are humanitarian organizations, others are cultural, others call for citizenship. I saw Dr. Walid Samir Asir's brother. It is easier for humanitarian causes to receive support than issues supporting freedom of expression, freedom of belief, culture, and education. Therefore, we cannot count on the government. This event today relies on the fundraising dinner that we hold in September, and that it will allow us to hold this conference. Those who believe in our cause are the ones who are funding our activities. We are providing these activities free of charge to the population, while the fund donors, when the donors believe in a cause, they distribute their wealth on the different social classes. And they are assuming the role that the country and the government is incapable of doing. While those, when they see a result, they continue their support. And when they don't see any result, their support halts.
رح كمل مطرح ما نهيتي.
You're totally right, May. I will conclude by saying that the state is absent, unfortunately, in several sectors. This is why we are having a very active civil society. Undoubtedly, the civil society is facing major obstacles and challenges, as it is the case in several countries. The civil society is successful thanks to the presence of women and to the positions taken by women. A last message from each of you, please. I hope that one day the Lebanese citizen will start by implementing the law on himself before waiting for others to abide by the law. This is my will in order to guarantee his safety and the safety of his family. I support every woman who has a message to convey, and I'm honored to be a member of all these associations because I think that the cause for which these associations have been established will lead to change. Mary?
Social responsibility is something that needs to be instilled in the young. Our present society has a lot of corruption, but the only way to change that is for the educational system and parents to bring up their kids for a better future.
نادية.
كلمة أخيرة.
كلمة
دائما هيك في
أخيرة.
pressure على هذا الموضوع.
I think that any person capable of affecting the society in a positive way, whether through his professional experience or through associations, is in fact welcome. We always try to highlight difficulties and obstacles, but sometimes we forget to mention that we are all capable of affecting this and causing this positive change even in our personal arena. Thank you. I would like to conclude by saying that without women, the civil society would have been dead long time ago. Thank you.